I've locked myself in this room with my laptop. I don't know when they're coming, where they're coming from. Hell, I don't even know if they're coming. But what I do know is that they're out there. They're right outside my door, in my backyard, hidden behind the trees, just out of sight. All I have left is this laptop. So, I write this to whoever finds it. In order for you to understand, you must hear my story. It's quite a tale. I recently moved into my house, bought and paid for in a small town. The house itself was 3 floors, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and it had a beautiful view of a forest in the backyard. It struck me as odd that it was as cheap as it was, being such a large house. Now I know why. About a week after I got all my things moved in, strange things started happening. Among the first things are power outages, strange noises coming from the woods, and the occasional shadow crossing the trees. At first I thought it was just because I wasn't used to living in the woods, my imagination, and the power outages would be explained by it being an old house in the middle of nowhere. However, things gradually got worse. After a few weeks of the previously stated occurrences, I could have sworn I saw trees moving, but not like the wind, no, actually moving. But I thought it was just my imagination and thought nothing of it. However, one day when I got back from work, I saw that the garage door of my house had been opened. Someone had broken in. I ran inside as fast as I could. Maybe I'd catch the guy who did it before he got away. But strangely enough, when I went in, not only was nothing missing, but I found a strange stack of twigs, leaves, and the like. I called the cops anyway, told them that they should keep an eye on the neighborhood if people were breaking in. I swept the bundle of foliage outside and didn't give it another thought. I went to my bedroom and fell asleep after that. But as if my day couldn't have been remotely good, I was awoken by something bizarre. A blood-curdling screech of pain like no animal I had heard before. It was terrifying. I didn't know why it was terrifying, but when I heard it, I felt true fear. It continued for the rest of the night. Hours of torturous fear. When the sun rose, whatever had been making that terrible sound stopped. I looked out the window to see what was making that dreadful noise, but saw nothing. It wasn't the last time I heard it either. It started happening every night. By the 5th day, I was missing enough sleep and just built up enough courage to go out there and figure out what that thing was and how to stop it from keeping me up. I wish that I hadn't. I grabbed my handgun and a flashlight, went into the woods, the sound still screaming throughout the forest. I shined the light throughout the forest, and still couldn't see a damn thing. Grew closer and closer, and the sound grew louder and louder. The dreadful screech made my head feel like it was imploding. My ears started to bleed. The pain was terrible. But I had to find out what it was. And as I crossed one last tree, I saw it. It was 10 feet tall, on all fours, covered in brush, bark, and scales. Its mouth was open, screeching as loud as it could, showing its 3 rows of sharp, barky teeth. Its eyes were yellow and reptilian. I only got a quick glance of it, but it will forever be embedded into my mind. I turned to run, but more of them seemed to come out of the ground with the same terrible sound. I ran as fast as possible back to my house and locked the door behind me. But when I got inside, I had a revelation. A stack of twigs. My garage door, by far big enough to let those things through. They had opened it. I didn't know how, and I didn't know why, but they could get in. I quickly grabbed this laptop and locked myself in the small cellar, far too small to let them in. I can still hear that sound, that deafening sound that rips my soul apart. I guess I can't take any more of this, so I write this to whoever finds it. If you ever see a stack of twigs in your house, unexplained, or see the trees move on their own, and my God, if you hear that dreadful noise, God rest your soul. Run away, move to the city, and never look back. But it's too late for me now. They're in my head. I can hear them calling out with their noise that would make the devil himself cry out in pain. The only thing I can do now is sit here and pull this trigger. Hell would be a great improvement to this noise.